I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, no, I've done it the wrong way around, so I've drawn an arrow. I haven't seen it, sorry.
He must have a horseshoe up his ass.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona...
2 years ago. Sorry about that, I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome to another weekly ramble from the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. I'm Daniel Cody, and with me as usual are Craig Savage and Charlie Betts. Join us at a slightly later time than usual this week as we delve through some more weird and wonderful stories from the footballing world.
So we've had obviously a week off. How's the week been?
Well, this has
Well,
been...
you two have had a week off.
Yeah.
We had a week off.
Well, this has been slightly delayed, isn't it? Because I was on holiday in Barcelona for a week.
How was
Tough
Barcelona?
one.
Which meant we had to record this a few days later. Yeah, no, it was very good. Yeah.
It's a good way to recover from your 1 full week of work, isn't it?
It was a shame actually because the fixtures didn't quite fall for me to go to a game. So Barcelona were playing away at Lyon in the Champions League. Yeah, I mean I could have gone to Seville, but I lost half a day. So it was just obviously local.
Yeah, it's a long.
And even you just had to enjoy the city and the food. And
and all of that. And
Culture of
Espanyol,
Barcelona.
albeit we're at home, but Espanyol recently moved from the Olympic Stadium, which was within sort of fairly walking distance from where we were staying, to like right out on the outskirts of the city.
Yeah, it's another area. Yeah.
It's a complete nightmare to get to, and also it wasn't necessarily the cheapest game for bottom of the league, and I just thought. My wife was with me, she's not going to be too fussed about going to watch Espanyol versus Hoveja, or however you pronounce them. So.
You could sell it as a cultural experience. Or were you still making up for her cooking you steak and
No,
chips?
you say that. First night on holiday, we actually went to a Barcelona fan bar and watched Barcelona versus Lyon.
I'm sure she loved that. Let's go and do it in a pub, right?
I kid you not,
cultural.
and she will listen back to this. I kid you not, an hour into the game, because it was 0-0 as well, an hour into the game, the phone was out, she's already looking through pictures and stuff, but...
To be fair, Charlie, look at the video that you sent us on the WhatsApp group. The Barcelona fans didn't look like they had fun.
No, I'll be honest.
It was a 0-0
I'm
game.
not just saying it because this was. I did a bit of research on this. This was like the one of the best bars to go and watch football in Barcelona, and not as in with Spanish actual Catalan people. So there's loads of Irish bars and stuff, but you're just going to get tourists and foreigners there. So there was loads.
You wanted to show off your language skills, didn't you?
That's what it was, yeah. Exactly. But they enjoy it over tapas and stuff. It's a completely different experience. It's sat down at tables. They get all of the food out and all of that. It's not like you have here where it's just. Load of like
Cram yourself at the bar, yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
But no, it was really good. It was just a shame the game wasn't. It was alright from a purist perspective, but you know, you want to see a goal. But like the, I don't know the name of the piece of music they played before games at the new camp and that.
Oh yeah.
They played that in the bar and they'll start singing and tapping. That was So that was really good. But yeah,
Good.
Craig.
Craig, how was your week off, mate?
Turned 30 during the week.
Getting old.
I am old.
Your body got old years ago, but you're now getting old too.
Yeah. One of my friends decided to give me a Just for Men hair dye kit because she was trying to have a laugh, which I did not appreciate, to be fair. But other than that, just went out to, obviously celebrating the birthday, celebrating with family and friends. Did Go Ape on the weekend.
I have no idea what that is.
It's like wilderness, like climbing frames and that. You do like obstacles and do zip wiring.
Trying to reminisce on a little bit of youth that you've got left.
Well, I say reminiscing a
Can't be
bit.
good for your knees and ankles either.
Well, this is why I improvised by not taking any pressure on my knees and landed on my backside.
Lovely.
And then I pulled my hamstring halfway through it. So, but it was a fantastic experience. And then obviously went out to London went for a Jamaican meal, which was lovely. We won't go there. We won't go there. And
shut up, Charlie. No more racial stereotypes.
yeah,
this
and
week.
Just went to watch the boxing, and that was it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. WORK-A-DEE-POO?
There's no coming back from that this week. I worked all week in the NHS, which thankfully was a bit quiet because the kids were off, but nothing of note for me, so I'll let you two be the exciting ones.
But you decided to go and watch Final Score in a hotel.
Yes, I was watching Final Score in a hotel. You can certainly tell the difference in quality between that and Soccer Saturday.
That is true.
But
Soccer Saturday is
I
the
did
best.
get one of my stories today from that, so a little bit of research done even during Final Score.
Little teaser for you there.
And now it's time for Ramble of the Week. And we start off with some positive news for free-to-air viewers on the TV that like to be armchair viewers. La Liga will be shown on ITV4, which is, well, at the moment it's currently on 11 Sports, which is going to probably die come the summer.
So what is that streaming? Is it 11 Sports?
11 Sports is
Sports is
streaming, yeah, but I don't think they've had enough customers come in to obviously show all these games. So ITV have gone in and got the rights to show at least one game a week or weekend, should I say? And then showing free to air, so it's good.
And more good news, Craig.
What's that, Cody?
It's from Serie A in Italy.
Serie A?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that Free Sports and Premier Sports, who obviously are a subscription channel, have got the rights of 11 Sports for that league as well, and have committed to showing at least one game a week on Free Sports, which is free to air in HD, on Freeview, Freesat, all of that lot as well, which is brilliant for people like me and Charlie. Obviously, for you with your Sky Sports subscription, it doesn't matter.
Well, no, because I didn't have 11 Sports, so it'd be good to have it on there.
And that's the problem, wasn't it? Because 11 Sports, we mentioned them at the start of the year, taking all the rights. They were planning, I think, to set up a TV channel or a stream via their TV service. So like a red button service on the TV, like a Netflix on Virgin and Sky and things like that. But they didn't actually manage to get it. So
that's big names go there, like commentators and presenters and that. Was that?
Well, if you had Spencer Owen presenting the Classico, that's something really has gone wrong.
That's right.
Let's assume they haven't got any big names with local knowledge, shall we say?
No.
I can't believe. So they're going to die now, basically. Is that?
They were struggling. They were struggling anyway. They were struggling since like September, and the Leeds owner is part of the 11 Sports.
I mean, they're still doing well in other countries, but I guess the good thing for us is we're getting to watch live free football from the elite level, and for British fans like us, we're getting a bit of a practice in VAR for the next few months. So
yeah, and it's good to have Messi back on my screen.
Good news, and as we're recording this, we've got Bologna v Juventus, which is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, and then
Real Madrid this evening.
Yeah, Real Madrid Levante this evening.
So well done ITV, well done Free Sports.
It depends who's hosting it and who's commentating. If you get Andy Townsend commentating on
it doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter. It's like Italia in the 90s on Channel 4. It's unbelievable stuff, and we should be excited.
If Jackie Oatley's hosting it, just make sure you apologise to Luton fans.
It's not political.
No, it's not political. Just apologise, Jackie. That's what I'm going to say.
Just apologise.
So have we got our one positive story out of the way? Let's come to moan.
No, I'm really going to moan straight away. I don't know if you saw Norwich yesterday, Norwich Bristol City, cracking game of football, but Norwich just score goals for fun, didn't they? At the minute, I think it is. I'm not bragging because that's probably about the only prediction I might be in for shout actually.
To be fair, Bristol City have been on some really good football.
So cracking game of football. But I just think Norwich, although they leak quite a lot of goals. I mean, I suppose what I'm saying is an exciting sort of time to be a Norwich fan, isn't it? Just goals galore.
And the most important thing in getting promotion, surviving relegation is always who's got the best goal scorers, who can get that goal when it really matters. It doesn't matter if you concede a few. You always say that in the Premier League, for example. You've got to have a goal scorer if you want to stay up.
Yeah.
And
this is it, yeah.
They've got 2 or 3 of them, to be fair, and a couple from midfield, which is great.
Yeah. Speaking of goals, Charlie Mulgrew has now scored 3 goals directly from the corner.
Oh, has he now?
Yeah.
That's a very good stat.
Thank you.
That's why they call you the stat man.
Yeah.
Not because you don't have any notes.
No notes.
So I don't know if I mentioned it, but I was on holiday in Barcelona. I don't know if that's come up in conversation.
I'm not sure we've mentioned it yet in this podcast. We're about 6 minutes in.
No, but actually, on a serious note, there was quite a good conversation I had with someone. So what they've started to do in Barcelona...
Did you have it in Spanish?
No, luckily he spoke English. They've started to, in Barcelona, and it's actually Barcelona Football Club that has given some funding for it, is they're starting to take dead spaces in the town and turn them into AstroTurf pitches.
Okay.
So quite near where we were staying, underneath an overpass, you got like the pillars to hold obviously the bridge up.
Yes.
Between the pillars, they've got like little mini 5-a-side AstroTurf pitches.
That's a good idea.
But I think it's quite a thing that the actual club themselves, as a way, giving it back to the city, are using. So I got speaking to it was a bloke doing it was just like a little 5-a-side sort of competition between the kids.
So you're doing a bit of journalism.
But we're not journalism, I wouldn't call it that. But they are floodlit, obviously, because of it being sort of still the winter as such. And and it's all sort of free. So the gates are left open the whole day, all year round, so people can just go on there, rock up, that sort of thing.
Could you imagine that happening in this country?
Well, that's the thing.
I see why Spanish footballers are better than them.
Yeah, and I just thought it was such an amazing sort of initiative. And really, I imagine, obviously, Barcelona are a huge mega club, I get that. But the cost to them must be minimal to lay out a few AstroTurf pitches around the city, I just think there's clubs here that could learn a lot from that. But I think what an amazing initiative, what an amazing way, like you say, of getting kids playing football.
The annoying thing about it, the difference between Spain and England, is we'll have to get planning permission. That'll take another 20 years.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. There must be. I don't think they've just rocked up and done it. There must have been some sort of process to go through to get it. But I just think it's an incredible use of space that was otherwise, and just space that would have been dead. We were on about taking up parks that are getting houses built without getting political houses built on them and stuff like that. But actually, I look at where we live in Luton. You've got the overpass by the bottom of Crawley Green Road. There's like an excess bit in the car park that people don't really use. Somewhere like that would be ideal for that sort of thing. You've bung an AstroTurf pitch in there.
The problem is that anywhere they put an AstroTurf pitch in Luton, it's then 50 quid to go and play on it.
Well, that's exactly
that's the problem with it.
And so I think it's obviously not all completely funded by the club, but apart from them, part of the sort of local council, whatever it is over there. You know, I just thought that was such an amazing thing that we could learn a lot from here. You know, so
Let's let the kids play football.
hard-hitting journalism.
Well done,
right,
you.
go on.
And moving from hard-hitting journalism to absolutely the opposite, but in another Spanish-speaking country. So in Chile, the Premier Division kicked off in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
There was a bit of controversy, which it wasn't seeming to be at the time, but turned out to be controversy, with O'Higgins. Now, would you like to guess what the controversy was? I'll give you a little clue. It was related to their attire. A very, very minute thing.
Sock ties.
Sponsor.
No. Sponsor. Right lines. Okay, so they have a sponsor, which is the large fast food chain McDonald's.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Okay. And you remember there's a little stupid law in football that the numbers on the back of the shirt have to be visible on TV.
Yeah.
So what they've done, and it got quite a lot of activity on social media. Craig, stick with me. This is great.
He's struggling, isn't he?
Their numbers were representative of skinny McDonald's French fries. And the ends of each number were dipped in ketchup. So they had the effect of being dipped in ketchup fries. And it was brilliant on social media. There was lots of positive support for it, but then it was also proven they're going to be investigated because their numbers weren't visible easily on TV.
I'll tell you what though, I'm not loving it.
Hey, go on, son. But yes, I just thought how the fact that we're getting controversy out of Latin football tells you where our priorities are. So it makes us feel a bit better. It's not just us; it's over in Chile.
The thing is,
well.
we do these guest defines, and we do have numbers. Obviously, got to be visible in that. So they probably would have got a tenner.
Exactly, £10
I'd like to hope in the Primera division it might be a little bit higher, but you never know. So, but I just thought it was quite an interesting one for this week, if nothing else.
Just, I know because it's been about 8 or 9 days since we last met, so you might have already known this, but it really went under the radar for me in the National League. Mark McGee is now manager of Eastbourne Borough.
Yes, he is.
When did that happen? I didn't. Well, it actually happened on 19th of February, because I've got it written.
This was when you was on holiday in Barcelona.
Yeah, when I was on holiday in Barcelona, I don't know if I mentioned that. No, but on a serious note, like that's quite, you know, a man who I think he was the assistant manager at Scotland before that, or you know, that's quite a big sort of
Step
name
down.
to be there.
I thought you were going to say fall
But then
from
again,
grace.
No.
You had Gary Johnson managing Torquay.
Yeah, but I get that. But Gary Johnson, he's known for not necessarily managing at the top level, or especially not working with an international team.
And you've got John Sheridan going down to Chesterfield in the National League as well. I've got another story from the National League actually, and again it's a more positive one.
Go on, yeah.
So Chesterfield, a team that we've mentioned a few times this year, largely for action on the pitch, such as drawing nearly every game when Martin Allen was in charge. They have put out an initiative which will take place in March on a day of their home game. I think it's against Eastleigh. It is on the 9th of March. To try and create a female force in the stands to increase our attendance of female fans at the club. So they will host a special Women at the Game event during that one to try and make it a reality. What they're basically trying to do is encourage women. You'll go with like-minded fans, make it a family affair, bring your kids if you want. And obviously the associate director there is a lady called Alison Richardson, and it seems to have gone down really well. So it's a good initiative, and hopefully it increases female attendance at football grounds, because let's be honest, some of the blokes that turn up to football matches are
unsavoury.
So hopefully that making I guess it's sort of no different to having a family stand, really.
Yeah.
But it's just
not a neutral stand.
No, but just to make it a bit more friendly rather than just people shouting and swearing. And let's be honest, we've all sat near blokes at a football ground and you've just thought, I'd really rather not be sitting here listening to that.
Well, the blokes like that, they're the ones who do it. They don't watch the game. The only time you see them watch the game is when the crowd makes a noise. They spend, from my experience, particularly if they're near the away fans, they spend like 75 minutes of the 90 shouting at another group of fans across the stewards. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. They're not there for football. So I just thought it was a really positive initiative. Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know how it's going to go yet, but hopefully it will increase attendance. And again, at that level, lower ticket prices. If you can get more female fans in, obviously it gives more of a chance for it to be a family occasion. Yeah. With both parents and potentially children too, so hopefully it goes well. But well done, Chesterfield.
We've had quite a few feel-good stories of decent initiatives in football, haven't we?
And then I'm going to ruin it.
The rest of mine are negative, but go on, mate.
So I'm going to move into the EFL, and once
we're going to Coventry, are we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, obviously at the time of recording, me and Cody just got back from Luton versus Coventry, which was live on Sky.
Craig finally attends a game. Carry on.
Second one, thank you very much. Move seats as well.
There's been 17 games this year, Craig.
Sorry, I'm busy coaching on a Saturday afternoon. And,
moving on. Tell us more about Coventry City.
So obviously, quick review of the Luton game. Luton were poor. Coventry done a job.
I'm on the verge of a rant here.
No, I said Luton were poor.
No, it's not you. No, it's people.
But don't matter. But Coventry done a job. The time wasted the second half. They didn't really attack the second half, and they got a point. And
well done.
And what was your assessment of Luton, really quickly?
Okay, could have been worse.
Good first 20 minutes. Couldn't take a chance the second half.
Okay, no, that's fair. No, I've because
I'm trying to be professional on the.
Well, no, it's just to really go on a quick side note. Not you two lads personally, but there just seems to be a massive element of delusions of grandeur from Luton fans. I had a quick look,
a few of them.
on the social media sites, and even friends of mine who are Luton fans, and it's like obviously maybe today wasn't necessarily their best performance. You have to take stock of what Luton have achieved in the last 2.5 years.
21st game unbeaten in a row
Exactly.
in a league we've just been promoted into with largely a similar squad.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a point gained.
But if you look at all of it, potentially probably going to get promoted to the Championship. Manager leaves halfway through the season. All of the other stuff to be in the position they're in, and people still give off. And it's not just Luton fans. There's plenty of fans whose clubs are doing well who are like that. And you just think, when is enough for some people? Baffles me.
I couldn't agree more with you, so fair play for you, Charlie.
Go on.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes, Coventry,
So
sorry.
obviously, Coventry had a little bit of a protest.
They did,
During
and it
the-
was applauded by Luton fans, so
Brilliant.
well done for that.
Yes,
It was brilliant applauded, because I applauded.
Two clubs that don't like the Football League put
No.
together.
So Coventry's problem is they might not have a home for next season. Obviously, they've got problems that obviously Wasps own the ground of the Rico.
Because of the financial mismanagement of the club
Of the,
previously.
the-
It used to be London Wasps, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Basically
London Wasps.
London Wasps up in
Wasps.
Coventry.
It's
Ridiculous.
Coventry Wasps. But yeah, so Coventry haven't told the EFL where they're going to be playing next season, because obviously Coventry don't know where they're going to be playing next season, because obviously they can't sort out a deal. So they've got to the 6th of March,
Yeah.
I believe, to tell the EFL, right, we're going to be playing at either the Rico Arena. Their only option at the moment is to play at the Rico Arena. Coventry don't have an option to go out to Northampton. They don't really want to do that. It's a good 40 odd miles away. There are other grounds, but I don't think they're good enough, like Nuneaton Town, Borough of Town.
But they might not have a ground or a club soon.
Or a club
either.
soon.
I
Anyway.
think if they rented off Nuneaton, they could do it at home, couldn't they, to be fair?
Coventry United, obviously, just have they've got the rugby ground there as well. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's only
still
1,000
not- it's only 1,000. It's just one stand, really.
One of the big things I want to mention on this is we've had a bit of a debacle in the Premier League this year with Tottenham Hotspur, where they've been changing the ground that they're going to play at 3 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
Okay, so fans have already purchased tickets, season ticket holders have already purchased tickets for a certain ground, etc., etc. What I don't understand is two things. Why do the EFL need to know in early March?
Yeah.
Why are you putting pressure on clubs when there are so many other things this season to focus on? You know, at Blackpool, you've got receivers in and an ownership battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you go and focus on something that's
Weirdly,
important?
with the EFL and that, they contradict themselves. They said, we're going to help out with Blackpool, but he never helped out with Luton or any other clubs that got points deductions.
And they're not going to
back in
help
the
out
day.
with Blackpool. It's
You
just
could
a
argue
run.
that they learnt their lesson from Luton's unfortunate plight, maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, that's a different
My
story.
other issue with it, and I've got to be fair here, is Wasps. Why would they negotiate at the moment?
No.
Because the Coventry owners have no stability whatsoever,
No.
and you could sign into a deal that you know that the club may not be
Huge
able
risk,
to
yeah.
fulfil. So for Wasps, I can completely understand it. But what needs to happen is the EFL need to go in and, you know, assess. Maybe we've made a mistake with our fit and proper person test. Should we
That
actually go and
is-
assess it properly?
Completely agree. Yeah, I was just about to say the fit
Because they've accepted the club owners.
Yeah. So what the fuck are EFL doing to say, oh yeah, he's good enough? And the same thing happened with Leeds with the old Italian owner before that. And
Happened at Forest
and
before
Forest
as well. It's
and
happened everywhere.
Portsmouth and
Yeah.
Luton.
and what are they checking and say he's fit and proper? It makes no sense.
Well,
I think they're literally just doing a bleep test and saying, "Are you fit?" And yeah, why not? Off you
Can
go.
you count your footballs? I don't know.
no, it's a sorry state of affairs though that's happening, especially a club that size. You know.
Also, if they don't find out, if Coventry don't tell the EFL, they could expel them from the league next season.
Which
And
again,
then confuses the whole table of not just League Two.
promotions and relegations,
Yeah.
all the way down to wherever they end
Yeah.
up.
Exactly. So the EFL are going to decide by the end of April once all the playoffs and obviously promotion and relegation get decided. But then I said that if it does come to the worst, it's the chain of going down, right? Which League 2 team is going to survive, or what League 2 team goes up, and which League 2 team saves themselves from relegation, and which National League team goes up.
One of the
sense.
other big problems with that is Coventry has still got an outside shot at the playoffs.
Yes.
And more importantly than that is at the end of April, when most teams' season finish before the playoffs start, finish, whatever. A lot of teams are planning for the following season because they know what division they're going to be in.
Yeah.
They've either been relegated, been promoted, or they know they're going to be in the same division. For them to then make their plans based on, say, I'm going to be still in League One, and then suddenly, oh, by the way, you're going up to League 2, or you're going up to League 1, you're going up to the Championship because Coventry can't.
Yeah, but then Where did Coventry go after that? What league do they have to go in? Do they go in the National League South, North?
They'll go in the National League.
Yeah.
The same as what happened to Luton.
But
They
then-
eventually
but then-
announced
but
down by
then
points.
But then that will shaft a National
shaft,
League team
exactly.
somewhere.
My biggest point, and it's the same thing with Luton as well, what happened before, and what they tried to do with Bournemouth and Rotherham, who nearly ended up in the same position, is how does this benefit the EFL? If a club like probably even more so a Coventry, but a club like a Luton or a Rotherham go out of the Football League, who by stature are at least League One clubs, how does that benefit the EFL?
No.
I appreciate we're talking about stature shouldn't mean everything, but if they're replaced by, say, a Harrogate or a Solihull, no disrespect to them, but they haven't earned promotion. Let's say they've lost in the playoffs and they go up as the next team because Coventry have come down. How does that help the Football League revenue-wise?
Yeah.
Because you can't put Luton v Harrogate on TV. He's not going to get the same viewing as Luton v Coventry.
No, gosh, no.
Or something like that.
No.
Even if it's League Two,
But
and it's,
then-
say, Exeter v Coventry.
Well, yeah, so we had to come to Solihull and Harrogate. Them two facilities not ready for EFL.
Exactly. And again, for Solihull and Harrogate, if you lose the playoffs in the National League, which are before the EFL ones, they finish about 2 weeks earlier, what do you then do? Because you're planning for another season in the National League, and suddenly you get told, oh, you're going to be in League Two next year.
Yeah.
What do you do to the 3 players you've just signed planning for next season in the National League? The 4 players you've given contracts to, they're going to be good squad players in the National League. Now you're in the EFL and you haven't got a way to cope. So that's what causes problems for these littler clubs when they come up, little in terms of reputation. Because they plan for one league financially, then they have to bring in 3 League Two players, and those 3 National League players they've kept on are just a waste on the wage bill. It's an absolute disaster, and they're not thinking about the grand scheme of things.
It's not the spirit of
So
the game.
there you go. The positive mood's gone very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, there is another ownership thing. Truro City, your favourite club, Craig, been
I like
taken
them.
over. But their club aren't naming by who. They've been taken by who?
Who?
By whom?
Whom? That's awful grammar for a teacher. But yeah, no, so they take over. Hopefully that will maybe...
You don't teach English, do you?
Very
Well, that's
badly.
debatable.
But yeah, obviously you spoke about the ground net before. Hopefully a new owner, maybe a bit more of an investment might, because it's still not anywhere near sorted, is it, as far as I'm aware there?
No.
Can I talk about another ownership in England, actually, which was
This
Yeovil Town.
Go on.
This week were taken over by an American lawyer and entrepreneur called Rob Kuig, I don't know, Jr. He's agreed to buy a 92%. Hang on, I'm just going to do the spelling here for you because you're both laughing at me. Couhig. Couhig. Kuhig.
Yeah, that man, anyway. What's his name?
There you
Rob?
go. So stop taking a piss. Right, okay. Yes, his name's Rob. He's bought a 92% of the club from John Fry and Norman Hayward, who have been long term there in charge. Set to become the owner and chairman with Mark Palmer, the consultant to the club. He's played a key role with the CEO in it, becoming the takeover.
How does an American get to an interest in Yeovil Town?
We've
No
got,
disrespect.
we've
to
got a
Yeovil.
bit more of Warwick. It's it's not far from the seaside, lovely little place, you know. So, you know, down in Somerset. Is it Somerset, isn't it?
Devon?
Yeovil? Somerset, Devon, that area, lovely. So I can understand why you'd be attracted to it. It's certainly better than going into the smoke fumes of London, isn't it? But there we go. Personal opinion.
Or more money.
More importantly, his first interview with the club is to say, I expect results. In what world does that help? Basically, I have no idea how football helps. We're losing every game. We're 1 point off the relegation zone. I want results. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. In 5 years' time, they will be the next Chester City documentary that I still haven't watched. And I'm going to put my hopes on that because I had Yeovil to finish in 23rd and I think it may become a reality now.
Can you also-
Macclesfield picked up another point yesterday.
I think Notts County picked up a few wins lately, so...
Yeah, Campbell.
Can we also have our hopes up of you watching that documentary?
Yes.
You still haven't watched it.
I might get a day off work on that. But I just want to say I feel really sorry for the Yeovil fans because they were excited straight away and then after the first interview there was suddenly the signs of what's going on here,
exactly.
and I really worry for them, but I hope they stay up and do well because I think relegation could cripple them. Maybe they'll finish 23rd and stay up because of Coventry.
Yes, it could be.
Don't rely on that. Please do not rely on that.
Just really quickly, women's football, Craig, your favourite person, Rachel Yankee.
Yeah, she's taken over at the
London Bees,
yes,
basically buying
it.
But you've got a signed shirt by her. It's quite an interesting
I
story.
do.
Would you like to share that?
I don't have it on me. Well, I don't have
No, I
it
didn't expect to have it on you, Craig.
You didn't know I was going to bring up the story. I just bought it in case.
No, did your dad meet her or something? Is that right?
Yeah,
If it was Alex Scott, he'd have it.
absolutely. She's doing a fantastic job, Alex.
Anyway, Rachel Yankee.
Yeah, so,
ladies footballer, England International.
Yeah, so obviously in London, I think we're both getting the train. I think it got cancelled, which was just a shock for London. So Dad, do you want a lift? Randomly, and she goes, yeah, and then obviously went to
Your dad gave Rachel Yankee a lift.
Yeah.
In his car.
yeah.
We've learned that she's a very trusting individual.
So they started talking about football and that, and so can I have a signed shirt? She goes, yeah, absolutely. Obviously gave the address details, and funny enough, I get a parcel come through about a couple of weeks later, my name, and they're, shirt from Rachel Yankee. But she kept true to her word.
What a lovely woman.
Lovely touch.
English shirt as well.
Because you're being a bit humble about your dad, because your dad actually...
I thought it was quite stalkerish, to be fair.
Well, no. So your dad won the conference with Enfield as a player and stuff, so it wasn't just like he was like a local player.
They're going to know that.
He had credibility in that as well.
Yeah, he played with Mark Warburton, which is the old Brentford manager.
Yes,
so.
yeah.
But
it's a good gesture, and again, we've said it a couple of times already. More people could learn from it.
Yes, exactly.
What stops a top 6 Premier League football club doing it?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
I don't have the England shirt. It's at my local football team.
Oh, you gave it? Okay, you donated it.
Yeah, donated away.
Very nice gesture from you.
For nothing.
Can I talk about another positive story?
Go for it.
Which is the cup we mentioned a lot in pre-season, the Iron Brew Cup of
Yes.
Scotland, including teams from Wales, Northern Ireland, the
Now,
Republic of Ireland.
I think
and
I made a
England.
bold claim, if I remember, that I said there would be a non-Scottish team in the final.
You did, and we had a big debate about what on earth's going to happen when that is the occasion, because obviously it's going to be difficult for fans to travel. Where's it going to be held? Because they hadn't announced a venue at the
I was
time.
just going to ask that question. Have they announced the venue?
They have announced a venue, and you
how
are
long?
going to be surprised. It is at
Easter Road.
Inverness Caledonian Thistle, notoriously difficult to get to, and 14 miles from Ross County.
That's up in like the top northeast of
That's the
Scotland.
Highlands.
So just to make it nice and easy
Isn't
for
that
the...
more north than Aberdeen?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure it is. Craig, have a look.
Let's be
I'm going
honest.
to Google map it.
Let's remember in the prediction show when Charlie last tried to do geography in Scotland, we got a lot of negative viewers. We'll leave that
No,
there.
I know the difference between Livingston now, but anyway, it
But
is.
genuinely, it takes the piss for
Oh
Christ's
yeah,
sake,
no, that
fans.
is. I mean, that's to go from Wales to northeast Scotland. It's just
But
absurd.
well done to them. They're the first non-Scottish side to reach the final of the Scottish Challenge Cup. Obviously, there have been other teams in the last 2 years, I think.
It's,
I think at the time it was just Wales and Northern Ireland.
So it's more. Well, Aberdeen's on the east of Scotland, on the east coast. Inverness is more northern central, but it's more northern than Fort William and just a bit south from Elgin.
That's unbelievable.
But we're
Gonna be difficult.
if I do my Google mapping here,
I tell you, do that.
I'll do the journey. You two.
So you were talking about Fort William, actually. I don't know if you've heard of. Unfortunately, Fort William haven't won a game in 2 seasons nearly now.
Yes.
We've mentioned them, supporting the club. They've actually gone into minus points. I don't know if you.
Oh no!
Because they've got their. It was a late story in fairness. This wasn't. This
no.
didn't happen this week. It was around Christmas time, I think, or just before. But they've picked up 2 draws this season, so they got 2 points. They were then deducted 9 points because they'd played an ineligible player 3 times.
Oh well, you know what I'm going to say.
The problem was he wasn't actually ineligible in the sense of him not being a real person or anything like that. It was that he was signed on loan from Keith, as in the Island club. But they played him before his registration had gone through.
That's
but
makes you wonder how long.
Well, that's the thing. It makes you wonder how long a registration takes to get through.
I was going to say, surely, bar more than 1 game, that's got to be the FA's fault.
Well,
for not getting a registration.
But surely they would realise.
Poor old Fort William got deducted 3 points for it anyway.
So they still haven't won a game.
No, still won a game. They're on -7 now.
On a genuine note, they've raised quite a bit of money from that Football Manager save, so well done to them. I think they're near $3,000 for the target there, so there's a Just Giving page and all that, and they're doing really well.
Just a quick update.
Go on.
I feel sorry for Connacht's Quay because it's 402 miles away from
So an
Inverness.
804-mile round trip.
6.5 hours to get to Inverness.
That's
So that is a
unbelievable.
joke. Who they playing? Ross County.
Ross County, yes.
County.
Who are
It's
40
nearer to
miles
Ross
from home.
County.
Aren't they top of the championship, Ross County?
I think so.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
they're in good form. It'll be a tough.
But they're 14 miles from home. It's ridiculous, really.
That is scandalous.
Can we move on, talking from Fort William, but a bit more in depth? A crisis club in Serie C in Italy.
Oh no! This is
horrible. Are they a club anymore though?
Well, they may well be a club, but they're not in the league they were once in.
No, they're not.
So Pro Piacenza, who were beaten 20-0 last Sunday.
But here's the catch. Where's the catch?
The catch is they were only able to field 7 players, which obviously, as you know, is the minimum to play a game.
Mm-hmm.
They had 6 of their youth team playing, and their 39-year-old kitman, who had never played in professional or semi-professional football
How does
before.
a 3rd division club get to that stage?
So we're talking the equivalent of... I know it's regionalised there, but still in terms of standard, we're talking League 1, League 2 essentially,
Even
aren't we?
if you talk about region, worst case, National League South or something like.
Exactly. So you're talking at that level, a team to have 7 players. All of the first team players went on strike over non-payments. There's been loads of rubbish behind the scene. It's been an absolute disaster. The kit man, borrowed the number 11 shirt with a name on the back and covered it, just a nice little detail, covered it with tape. He had to limp off during the game with cramp because he was a 39-year-old kit man who hadn't played football before. A lot of their players refused to travel because, as well as not being paid, they were having to then cover their own travel costs.
Yeah.
Because the club weren't able to do so. The media, the local media who were there, Sport Piacenza, they actually gave up with they were doing like commentary updates. They gave up after part of the game and said it's an insult to the sport and its principles. We'll come back at the end and just give you the score. The president of the league says we can only apologise to everyone, including the fans. We need to follow regulations, which is technically if you've got 7 players you can start. But we probably need to rethink this because this is a professional / semi-pro league.
Yeah,
and it
people are
takes
paying money to watch.
So once a club goes up to Series C, largely they have to go professional within a certain amount of time. So we're talking professional football.
That is
it's
shocking,
a pretty sad state of affairs in the 3rd division of Italy.
Yeah.
But luckily the 1st division's doing well as Craig and Charlie are both getting severely distracted by Juventus' goal.
No, but I think it goes back to what we were
there's
saying
a goal
earlier about
for
that thing in
Juventus.
Barcelona. You know, I'm not saying that bigger clubs should help out the smaller ones, but to get a club in that state of affairs and for something not to have happened before then is just...
more important-
Who actually enjoys seeing a team lose 20-0?
Ah, yeah, exactly.
Well, there's been a lot of criticism for it. Some people saying, why on earth have the parents of the youth team let their kids go and be humiliated like that? But
I'll tell you what, I've got respect for the 7 guys that played that game.
The 6 youth players and the kit man.
Yeah, I have respect for that. Obviously, they're going to lose heavily, but it's not fun.
The club has been taken over 4 times in 6 months. It's had 4 general managers in 6 months. Was sold for €1 in the summer. Several senior players are on strike, still on strike. All of those who were on loan have returned to their parent clubs. It's just an absolute disaster, and they have now been kicked out of the league. So the reason that they played that game is because they'd already had 3 games where they hadn't fulfilled the fixture. They'd forfeited because they didn't have enough players. And if you forfeit 4 games, you get chucked out the league. So that's why they played it. But then the league went, you're taking a piss.
Even, I mean, I don't... this is going on a bit of a slight debate, but surely, I know this sounds ridiculous, but would it not make sense to even have just said, right, you know, we're a Series C team, go to like the equivalent of a high amateur league team in the area. So just to put it into context, I know it wouldn't happen, but say it was Luton Town. So would you not just go, right, let's just get some lads from Crawley, some adults from there, or someone from like Barton or Bedford or something like that,
Dunstable Town,
and say, look, I know you're not quite at Series C standard, but you play week in, week out, you're a grown adult, you've got half an idea, and fill a squad that way.
Can they players at that level? Can they then afford to cover their own travel costs?
No, I suppose actually that's the point of it. Yeah, but I don't know. Sad.
It's a bit of a shame, but there we go.
While we're on a negative, I'll really quickly get them out of the way. Team not too far from us, Cody Cott. I don't know if you've seen what happened there, Craig.
Robbery again?
Yeah, well, not robbery. Well, yeah, robbery. But have you seen what's been stolen? So you know, there's been a plight of clubs that have been in the local area. Actually, there's been quite a few that have had stuff nicked for them. To have floodlights, you need to have counterweights, don't you, to stop them toppling over. Thieves have come in and taken the counterweights, and that's it.
Yeah,
so now the ground
they can't. They lower the floodlight, so obviously it doesn't have. So the light doesn't get raised, goes into the village. But they've stolen the little winch thing to actually lift the floodlight up and down.
Not even taking goals, not taking money, just taking the weight. So basically, the floodlights are redundant, and therefore games can't be played there because it's 3 o'clock kickoffs in that league, etc. Who goes to a football game and thinks, you know what? Rather than taking anything of any worth, I'm just going to steal the weights that hold the floodlights up. Like, it's just fucking mindless violence. Violence. Sorry,
but then they lose out on money. That's the annoying thing about these things. No one. I hopefully some raise money to help Critical out, but.
Well, what the FA could help because they've got plenty of it. But
on
a genuine note, that can't be just your standard petty thieves because they're not going to get anything.
No.
That has to be a calculated attack by either a rival club or something like that.
Why would a rival club do it?
I don't. Yeah,
who else has a motive?
They're near the bottom of the league, Cody.
Yeah,
they're sort of bit of a.
Who else?
I don't want to say poxy. That's the wrong word, but it's not exactly a great place to play football. You know,
take this one aside. There were a couple we mentioned before where the clubs have been vandalised because they'd signed up to FA initiatives that people didn't agree with and things like that, where rival clubs have then gone or people who claim to support or be attached to rival clubs have gone and vandalised teams. And this win at all cost mentality has to stop. You know what I mean? I don't agree with what you're doing, so I'm going to go and knock the shit out of everything in the ground. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Have you got any more? Or
I've got a couple of little ones.
so do you want my African Chronicles of the week?
No, we'll do them last because they're always gold dust.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay. We'll have something to build up to them.
Well, really quickly, I don't know, there's a good article, and I'm not going to read through it because I haven't got time, about Jay Bothroyd, and obviously he's in Japan now.
I read that, yeah, it was
very,
good.
very good, worth reading. Some quite humorous parts.
Man who cost us and guessed the fine before, didn't
He
he?
did actually, yes, yeah. But just little things like...
Not guessed the fine, match day squad. Sorry.
Yeah. He thought he played... Anyway, it doesn't matter, Craig, you're looking... point being is that he's playing in Japan now, and his previous British export was Gary Lineker, who's like the only big name. He's doing quite well, but it's things like you have to cover up your tattoos in Japan culture. It's quite a good read.
Yeah,
I would definitely read it.
It was very good. It was a very good read.
Speaking about good news and documentaries and things like that.
You still haven't watched Chester City?
No, I haven't. But Southend player Ben Coker, who had a season-ending injury, quite a big one this year. He's had quite a lot of problems with injuries. But he has a lot of complications with his, or potential complications with surgical procedures and things like that, because he's also a type 1 diabetic. So born with diabetes, obviously not one like we're at risk of from eating too many chocolates while we're doing this podcast. So he's got a documentary that's going to be on the BBC Sport website this week about the road to recovery. It goes in depth in terms of the surgical interventions, the problems, the risks with having type 1 diabetes while being a professional athlete. I just think it's going to be a really good insight. So it's free to watch. It's on BBC Sport website. Go and check it out. It's brilliant. And I saw that whilst watching Football Focus in my hotel room.
No, I do like a good football documentary.
And the only other thing... Sorry, mate, go on.
No.
The only other thing I had from English football, or, well, British football as this is as such, is Wrexham, a club I mentioned a lot of times. We talked about Mike Newell getting sacked, mutual consented 2 months into a 2.5-year contract as assistant manager. The new manager, Brian Hughes, has brought in club legend Brian Flynn.
I saw that.
Former Wales temporary manager, etc. He's come
manager.
back in as his number 2. Really good name. Obviously, a brilliant move to get the fans back on side in the title race. I think they're still top, but Leighton Orient have got games in hand.
Yeah, did they draw? I think they might have equalised an injury time yesterday.
Obviously, Salford lost again, but Leighton Orient are still the front runners if they win all the games.
That one in, didn't you?
Next Saturday, BT Sport, Solihull v Harrogate in the evening after the North
lovely.
London derby, so that's brilliant.
Although Solihull got beaten, I always get mixed up. Is it Trophy or the Vase?
FA Trophy,
yeah, they got beat.
And Harrogate starting to
AFC
slip.
Telford, didn't
That's right, yeah.
They did. Harrogate starting to slip down the league, but should still be a really good game. But I just thought that's a great move by Brian Hughes, a young manager getting a really experienced man in.
I'm really interested to see when it eventually is filmed, because they won yesterday, what the Billy Ricky documentary will make of the...
Oh, well.
Can we not talk about that until it comes out?
Billy Ricky won again, didn't they?
That's what I mean, that's why I wonder if they...
It'd be fantastic.
Thank God talk here so far clear. Africa.
Right, so really quickly, the enigma with it is Adil Tarat is now back training with Benfica's first team. If you've got a spare 5 minutes, 5 and 10 minutes, just go through his last 6 years of football. It's just reserve team football. How he keeps getting moves, it's just baffling. You know, he was at Genoa in Italy, then he was at Benfica. It's
because he's got talent. That's
exactly.
And his attitude is shit.
He's been at Benfica, and this is the bit I cannot believe. He's been at Benfica for 18 months in their reserve team.
But on the
he's only just started training the first team.
On the topic of number 10 enigmas, Ravel Morrison.
That's it. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And he was another one.
Fantastic player, but he's
playing for Lazio reserves or whatever. I know, because obviously Adil Tarat is African. That's why the link is. But I just couldn't believe it. 18 months in the reserve team. Someone of that quality, or even that money, because he wouldn't have gone there for nothing at Benfica. To just have that sitting in your reserves is just baffling. But right, Cameroon. It's not a nice story, to be honest, in the sense of. 70% of clubs in Cameroon's top 2 divisions haven't paid their players for at least 9 months. So that was, so part of it,
Wow.
Exactly. So that includes bonuses. 24 clubs across the 2 tiers Jeremy, the
former
Chelsea player, etc. Was it Chelsea?
Chelsea, Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, yeah. So obviously he's trying to he's trying to be like the face of this union. He's not an official representative, but because of his
putting a bit of weight behind it. Because Samuel Eto'o's done the same in the past.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't understand how 70% of the 24 clubs. I mean, what's the maths of that? I can't even bother about that. But the point being,
you're the teacher.
I know. Yeah, I could do it quickly, but I can't be bothered. I can't do it.
You can't do it.
No, no, but I just think that is a ridiculous state of affairs.
But we've mentioned so much the political side, the background side, committing to things you can't do, such as hosting the African Nations Cup. It's such a shame. Yeah. Because when you do see tournaments like the African Nations Cup, okay, the football's not always the best standard, but the fan atmosphere, we saw when the World Cup was in South Africa, it's just such a brilliant. They love football, and
party atmosphere.
It's just exactly. It's always like a party, and it's just ruined by shit behind the scenes. It's such a shame.
Arrogance.
And last one, which I just thought was a really baffling story, as I was hoping we'd find a nugget from Africa, and we have. Botswana have sacked their manager David Bright. Do you want to know the reason why? Because they've dropped 15 places in the FIFA rankings. He had four.
The FIFA rankings is a fucking farce.
He's had 4 stints as manager. At one point he was their most successful in terms of games to win ratio. He was the most successful manager ever in Botswana, but because they've dropped 15 places from 130 to 145 in the FIFA rankings, they've binned him off.
Do you know what the problem with that is? Genuinely, is the way the qualification works in Africa is you don't always play on the same day.
Yeah.
So like where the FIFA rankings are done, I think on like a Tuesday, and some of the qualifiers are on a Tuesday and some are on a Wednesday, where there's the 2 international break.
Yeah,
you could be behind just because you played a friendly instead of a
exactly.
The thing is that they always do it after Europe finishes.
Yeah, so they do it on the Tuesday after Europe, but then the other qualifiers
It doesn't make any fucking sense. Just bin them. Forget the FIFA rankings, they're bollocks.
The friendlies are weighted like you get 1 times whatever, and the competitive games are 2.5 qualifiers. So you lose out so much.
That's a brilliant point you make, because he actually says that he's been unfairly treated because Botswana, with all due respect, their FA hasn't got a lot of money, so their friendlies are very much regionalised against teams like Burkina Faso, for example. And that's no disrespect to them, but their ranking points that they would get even if they beat them are minimal compared to if they
your weighting goes down for friendlies, competitive, whatever.
Exactly.
Depending on where your team are in the top 150 of the rankings, you get more points for the higher team you beat. And if they're under 150, you just get the base rate. So they're probably playing teams 100 and below.
Yeah.
If they got a chance to play a 70th or an 80th and beat them, they'd probably move up 20 places just like that.
What he's saying is the cost for them to do that, it's just not available, which is it's just absurd.
One thing I've noticed in the last 2 minutes is how boring it is talking about rankings and coefficients.
Exactly,
we've gone political.
But it's such a shame that where their most successful manager got sacked because they dropped 15 places. But there you go.
Wales do that all the time.
Well, yes.
Northern Ireland do it all the time. Holland have done that recently.
Get them out. Anything more than 15 places, you're out in Europe. And it is now time for Name the Matchday squad. Now, I've managed to find a new resource which is going to open up this game even more than what it has done before.
So you basically...
Your lack of knowledge has been saved.
Basically, yeah, is what I'm saying. So I thought I'd go as topical as I possibly could. You two went to Luton versus Coventry today, agreed?
Yes.
Had a great time.
We did go, yes.
You did?
Yeah.
So I
not
thought,
together, though, not
why
together.
don't we go back to a game when Luton played against Coventry? Now, prior to last season when they played each other in League 2, the next meeting before
Championship?
was in 2007. But I thought, do you know what, Dan, in fairness, it's slightly unfair because I think you'd have only been 13 at the time.
I don't remember that.
And it would have been a similar lineup to the Liverpool one we had.
Exactly. So we're going to go back to last season when they met in League 2, when Luton were at home. So it was the 28th of October 2017. Luton versus Coventry. Do you remember the score before we name anyone?
Last minute 2-2?
No, 3-0 to Coventry.
Oh, that was it. I know why.
Okay, well anyway, we'll go
No,
through that.
that wasn't that game.
Well, it was Luton Town versus Coventry City, 28th of October 2017.
So the year before last year?
Yeah, when
Last
they were in
season.
League 2.
Last season.
Yeah, last season, yeah. And Coventry won 3-0. So...
Sorry, I was working in calendar years, which isn't useful for football.
No, it's right.
Absolutely not.
I've got all of the info here if you want to go through all of it.
Was there a red card in that game?
I cannot divulge that yet, but just so you know...
Yeah, because Charlie goes, yes, it was 4.
I'm so careful.
I'm in his head.
So both teams made 3 stars, but just to really quickly go through the rules for anyone who hasn't listened, you're going to take it in turns. It's a sudden death format. To name anyone in the starting 11 or who came onto the pitch as a substitute.
This is going to be over really quickly because me and
Exactly.
Craig, we know a lot of the players, but
Exactly.
we don't know if they played. We're shot in the dark, aren't we? We're just going to go.
That's why I think
the
it's absurd.
Coventry players.
You could maybe take a plump for a Coventry player, and that might throw.
Have you got a way to keep the scores this time?
I have, yes, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So
who's going first? Mate?
I think
it might be yours.
Me.
Go for it.
But let's cue the music. Let's start.
Do you not want to comment on how good the music is this week because you chose it and you've done it every week since?
You normally say, yeah, this music was great.
That's great music, by the way.
It's great tension.
Can I just say I don't like it?
Oh, why not?
Oh, just, I've got an extra. I mean, this was also brilliant. Luton were third at the time, and Coventry was 6th when the game was played in October. Go for it, right, Craig, go on.
We're going to start with Marek Steck.
Fuck, that was my one.
Yeah, Marek Steck started in goal for Luton.
Just want to make it clear, I am 6'4" up.
Well done, you.
Yeah, he won't be a 6'4", he might be 6'5".
So the defence is going to be a bit stretchy there. I'm going to go for Alan Sheehan. Could be out already.
I think you are, yeah, you're Alan.
No.
Alan Sheehan didn't play. No.
I can't believe it! He wasn't captain at the time.
It was last season, he was.
No, he wasn't. Well, yeah, you had the centre back, didn't you?
Yeah, Alan Sheehan didn't play, unfortunately.
Well, that was a quick, wasn't it?
This is a very quick. Well, I've got to get it right first.
Well, you know who the centre halves that played though. If he
Let's go for Danny Hilton.
Yes, Danny Hilton.
Oh, yeah, there you go, yeah.
So would it Cuthbert and Mullins then?
I'll go through the teams for you really quickly. So you had Marek Stedt in goal, Scott Cuthbert, Danny Potts, Johnny Mullins, Glenn Rea, who actually got sent off.
Oh, Glenn Ray, yeah, I thought Glenn Ray.
Jack Stacey, Luke Berry, Ollie Lee, Harry Cornick, James Collins, Danny Hilton. Coming off the bench, Pelly Ruddock, Andrew Shinney and Elliot Lee.
So I picked the one first team player who was injured or suspended at the time.
Was he on the bench?
No, on the bench.
Sheehan got sent off the game before because he got sent off once last season.
He got sent off against Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the
wasn't
bench
after
was James Shea, Luke Gambin, James Justin, Pelly Ruddock, Andrew Shinney, Lawrence Diaf. If I've said that right.
Lawson Diaz.
Lawson Diaf, sorry, it's small. It's on my phone, sorry. And Elliot Lee. But yeah.
Wow.
And go through the commentary.
Well, yeah.
Did Jordan Willis play for Coventry? Because that was my other banker.
I had Michael Doyle in my head.
Jordan Willis did play for Coventry, yeah.
I might as well leave now, why not?
Did Michael Doyle play for a bit?
Right, I'll go through it. So for Coventry, there was Lee Burge in goal, Jack Grimmer, Ryan Haynes, Rod McDonald, Jordan Willis, Michael Doyle, Liam Kelly, Peter Vicenti,
Peter Vicenti.
Jody Jones, Mark McNulty, and Jordan Ponticelli.
I'm not happy.
Coming off the bench was Duckens, Nazon, Max BMU and Jordan Shipley. Who
Can we do the 2007 one instead?
Well, who was the other subs that didn't come on?
Didn't come on for Coventry. Liam O'Brien, Tom Davis, Chris Stokes, Chris Maycock. Those four.
Well, that was very interesting. I am 7-4 right now. That was a very embarrassing name the matchday squad for the Luton fan to my left that you can't see. And that is it for today's Ramble podcast. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at CraigSavage89.
No one cares, Craig!
Daniel, where can they follow you?
I'm not telling you.
At load_FM, whatever it is. Don't matter.
Not
FM
even close, but
don't matter. And
most importantly, you can follow us at
Football Free. And we'll see you next time.
Such a great.